Morning everyone, and welcome back. My name is Dee Burks and this channel is Retirement Rescue, and we talk about a lot of different things that really concern people of all ages, but definitely as you age and are thinking about retirement or will be coming up to retirement here in the next 10 or 15 years. So one of the things that came up in the comments in my last video, where I talked about the myth of security, and how we feel like we're secure when we're really not, and how to deal with that. I talked a little bit about really mastering change management, becoming comfortable with constant change. And a lot of people in the comments really wanted more on that. And so I thought I would do another video, because one of the things we do, and this happens all the time, we all do it, but especially young people do it. And interestingly enough, as we age, even if we have handled change really well our whole lives, we get much more insecure. And we can catastrophize things as we age. Oh, the sky's falling. Boy, every decision is going to be life-altering. Even little decisions that really aren't. But somehow in our minds, we convince ourselves that, wow, everything is a big deal. And it causes so much stress and so much anxiety that is completely unnecessary. So let's talk about that for a little bit. Now, when we talk about managing change, you really can't manage change. You can respond to change. And that's what we're really talking about, is your response when things change, especially if they change dramatically, or if they change quickly, if you have a lot of little things that change quickly. And for most of this, I'm going to be using my examples, and I'm going to be using me. So a lot of this applies to me, and I'm going to talk about how I handle it. If it helps you, great. I hope it does. But not everyone is like me, and I totally recognize that. But I hope you find something helpful out of this. Now, anytime there's something unexpected happen, maybe someone's diagnosed with a disease, you or someone you love. Maybe you lose a job. Maybe someone you love dies. Maybe you have to relocate and it happens relatively suddenly. Maybe you get your electric bill this month and it's $200 more than you expected. A lot of us are having that experience as we speak. All these things can really activate your anxiety. And one of the things that really enhances that anxiety are things that we feel like might be true that aren't. For example, and let me give you one. Well, gosh, I'm almost 60 now. Who's going to hire me if I lose this job? Who's going to hire me if I need to find another job? Who's going to hire me? Guess what? 20-year-olds have the same anxiety about who's going to hire them. And it's really, I don't want to say it's completely not true, because sometimes your age is a factor depending on the industry you're in. Most of the time it is not. In fact, most of the time your age and experience is a huge benefit. And it does not matter if you are in customer service your whole life, or if you have had some sort of professional designation like accountant. Age actually helps you. That experience helps you. And so, you know, some of those assumptions that we have that, oh gosh, as we age, we're just not going to be employable, aren't really true. Now, I'm not going to say there isn't some ageism. There absolutely is, especially if you're in a tech industry. And this is kind of funny, because there are so many people, especially younger people who are 30 or 40, maybe they manage their department, who don't want to hire older people because they don't know technology. And I'm like, we had to learn coding in high school, which they don't even teach anymore. We were the first generation to use MySpace. People from our generation actually created the foundations of technology, of the way we use computers today. So many of us not only have grown up with it, we have gone through every iteration of software there is, even when it was absolutely not user-friendly. Absolutely not. So, you know, while we know those things may not be true, it may take convincing to convince some younger people they're not true. So I get it. There are certain industries where that's a thing. But generally speaking, it's not true. But we allow ourselves to be convinced that it's true. Now let me give you another example. And this is a small example, but something that for some people can cause major anxiety. I was headed out to a new place that I wanted to see, a new business, yesterday. And I was coming off, it's about 10 miles west of town, and kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And I was coming off the interstate onto the access road, and there was a pothole, y'all, and I know some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. A pothole that could have swallowed a Prius. It was huge. It was huge. And I did not see it until the last second. So I hit that pothole going a good 50, 55 miles an hour. Honestly, I was afraid it was going to roll my truck at first, because I have a truck. It did not roll my truck, but boy, I hit it hard. And my tires aren't old, but they're not brand new either. And so my first thought was, oh no. And of course, my tire sensor came on in my car. And I thought, oh no, I'm going to be stuck out here in the middle of nowhere. And I cannot change a tire on my truck anymore. Honestly, I just don't have the muscle power for it anymore. And so I immediately, that anxiety, you feel that anxiety. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, clearly, being out in the country is kind of an issue. Who do you call? And I know a lot of people have those issues. Who do you call for certain things? Something as simple as moving a box out of the attic. When you have no one to call, your children are all busy with their own lives. All of your friends are at least as old or older than you are, or they're also all busy, or, especially at a certain age, they all kind of die off. And even if they wanted to help you, they can't. They don't have the muscle power either. So what do? Those sorts of things, the how to get things done, the unexpected things that happen, like a possible tire issue, are things that could really cause tremendous stress and anxiety. And so one of the things that I really want to talk about is how you talk yourself off that ledge. How you realize, okay, the anxiety you're feeling is not in relation to the actual problem. You have much more anxiety and worry than this problem really needs. And so you really have to talk to yourself and convince yourself, okay, let's look for solutions, and this anxiety will start to lower as you look for solutions. So that's exactly what you do. First second I could, I pulled off the access road. I looked at my tire. It looked good. It wasn't going flat. The tire sensor was still on. And then I slowly drove back to town. It ended up being no big deal. But in the process, I thought, okay, if the tire is flat, what am I going to do? There are several places I can call to come out and change a tire. It's not a big deal. If you have AAA, they'll come out and change a tire. It's not a big deal. If you don't, who would you call family and friend-wise that could help you, that could come out and rescue you? And so those are the things I run through in my mind. What's my plan A? What's my plan B? What's my plan C? Having a plan releases a lot of that excess anxiety that probably wasn't needed in the first place. It was way more anxiety than that situation called for. The same is true, like, for example, if you get an unexpected bill. You get a, $300 or $400 electric bills, which a lot of people are getting in Texas this year. The heat has been tremendous. So what do? Immediately you look for solutions. If you are not on the budget billing that makes your billing the same every month, you can call your utility company and talk to them about getting on that. That will lower that expense and at least make it even every month, where it's not hugely high in the summer or low in the fall and spring. If you're not on that budget billing, and honestly, I'm not, because I didn't qualify for it. You've got to live in the house at least a year, because it was vacant prior to that for a while because the woman died. But you've got to be there at least a year before they can do any sort of budget, because they don't know what that budget would be. So not available for me, and it may not be for you either. But what are you going to do? How are you going to plan for this? How are you going to pay on this? Can you contact your utility company and say, hey, are there programs that can help with high utility bills? A lot of times there are. So don't make assumptions that there's nothing you can do and you're just going to have to somehow find this money and you don't have it. That is anxiety that can be released by finding solutions. So don't let your own assumptions and your own catastrophizing, oh, no one's going to be there, no one's going to help. No, that is not true. Not true. But you will not find those solutions by sitting in your house and worrying about it. Get yourself out there. Start making friends. Make friends with younger people. Start joining groups of people or volunteering for things where you can meet a good cross-section of people. Get yourself out there. It is almost a natural tendency that as we age, we become much more closed. We sit in our house more. We don't go to things anymore. We don't join things anymore. We basically just deal with our really close friends and family. And guess what? Those people die, they get ill, or they move off. And the next thing you know, your circle is getting tiny, tiny, tiny. And the only way you're going to expand that circle is to get yourself out there. It's like when you were a little kid and your mama would say, hey, if you want friends, go be a friend. That is exactly true. It's still true. Decades and decades later, your mama was right. You need to go make friends. You need to go get yourself out there and create a network of people who will eventually become your support system. You need that and they need that. You have things to offer too. So that's what I would do. If you're one of those people who tends to get a lot of anxiety about change, who tends to worry about the future, who tends to assume things will never work out, the only thing that can change that is you and your attitude. Other than that, no one can help you, and no one will. You have got to take that initiative. So I hope some of you found this helpful in some way. It's kind of a little bit of tough love, but I hope you take it in the spirit that it is intended. I really want you to improve your life, to feel good about where you are, to enjoy your life, and not have so much anxiety. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, and I'll see you next time.